Hello everyone, welcome to Pete CD Vinyl World. Today I want to do a video which is sort of a response video, but it's I thought it was a good idea when I saw it. Mazzy made a video yesterday where he talked about, it was all the #1 ranked albums from the artists he ranked. So I guess he had about 20 or so, and I have about the same amount, I think. So I thought that was a good idea to show the #1 picks of each of the artists I've ranked before. And I do have some more rankings coming up that I haven't done yet. Alice Cooper, The Who, a couple others, Metallica also. So I like doing ranking videos because it's more talking about the music rather than showing the latest pressing of some reissue mastered by Bernie Grubman, pressed by Rudy Van Gelder, blah 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 blah. Like, who cares? So I rather talk about the music rather than actual reissues and Record Store Day and same video over and over. So I thought that was a good idea what Mazzy did yesterday. So I'm gonna show my rankings of my #1 albums of the bands that I've ranked before, and you can also check out those videos in the past. Please hit the like and subscribe button before I begin. So one album I did want to show, which is an artist I haven't ranked, but I can't do this video without showing my #1 album from Mazzy's favorite artist, Ted Nugent. It's Free For All. So that's I haven't done a ranking of his albums, but that's my #1. So I had to give Mazzy's #1 artist. And this is actually a European promo. It's got the colored lettering there, which is kind of odd. Anyway, so I'll begin with the ranking I just did, which was Iron Maiden, and I ranked Number of the Beast #1. This was an artist. Sometimes when I do the rankings, it's more of my favorites that go to the top. But then there's other artists where you sort of can't deny which is their best one. Like Iron Maiden is one of those bands where Number of the Beast is sort of like their perfect album. And if you're asking me what my two favorites were, I'd probably say the first one and Killers, which I ranked fairly high as well, but I did rank this as their #1. Early on, I did Dokken. I think this was the first ranking I did, and I ranked Under Lock and Key as their first, and I probably still would rank this as their first. I think it's, every song on here I think could have been a single and pretty big hit, MTV hit. My favorite one possibly could be Back for the Attack, but I think Back for the Attack has a couple, 2 or 3 weak songs on it, where this one is just great start to finish. I'm not crazy about the production, but the production is a little bit better than Under Tooth and Nail. So that was my #1 Dokken. I think I might revisit some of these bands too in the future because I did them so long ago. Also did Queensryche early on. Definitely this would still be my #1, Rage for Order. I think it's the album where if someone says, what does Queensryche sound like? What are they like? Definitely pick this album. Most people would pick probably Operation Mindcrime. I'm a little burnt out on that album, same way kind of like the Who's Tommy. You've heard it a million times. They've played it live so many times. And this is, I think, the album that I was introduced to them on, so that's why it's still my #1 for them. I did Badlands recently. They only have 3 albums, but I did rank their first one as their best. Their other 2 are really good, but definitely pick that up if you see it. King's X. That was my favorite. Out of Sight Planet, their debut. Could have been Get Gretchen Goes to Nebraska, but I think since I was a fan of this band from the beginning, this one has always stuck with me as my favorite. I did a ranking of Van Halen. So Van Halen 1 came out as #1 because you can't deny it. Is another band where my favorite might be another one at certain points, either 5150 or Balance. But overall, I would say Van Halen 1 is their best. Then I did a ranking of, I did a top 10 ranking of Sammy Hagar and David Lee Roth solo albums. And this was the highest ranked Sammy Hagar album, which was his, at first it was self-titled 1987 album, then it was changed to I Never Said Goodbye. I think this is his best solo album overall. It doesn't really sound like his older material pre-Van Halen, but I still think it's his best one. And then I did a separate ranking of David Lee Roth solo albums, and I picked his first one, Eat 'Em and Smile. I don't think he's ever even come close to this album, but his other ones are all actually still pretty good as well. So. Kiss, I did in two separate rankings. I did it 74 through 82, and then 83 through present. For the first video, I picked Destroyer as my favorite. Still is, I would say Hotter Than Hell is probably right there. The only thing with Hotter Than Hell is the production is so bad that I prefer the songs on either Kiss Alive or Unplugged better than the original album, so I still have to go with Destroyer. And for the second 82 to the present, I'm picking Creatures of the Night. Top 3 Kiss album for me overall as well. I didn't actually do a ranking of Angel because I just merely talked about them, but my ranking for Angel was basically order of release, and this was their first album. It's still their best, I believe. Blue Oyster Cult, I recently did Blue Oyster Cult as well. Secret Treaties was my top pick, with Fire of Unknown Origin pretty close behind, but every song on here is a well-known Blue Oyster Cult song, except maybe one of them, KG Cretans, but every other one on here is pretty much a big song. Led Zeppelin, Physical Graffiti. I think it's their perfect album as far as like what they sound like. So, all right, moving on. Toto. Again, I ranked their first one as their best. I have some other favorites that are pretty close to it. Hydra might be my actual favorite, and Kingdom of Desire possibly, but this is definitely their best one overall, I would say. Did Pete Townsend as well. I have The Who coming up, but this was my favorite solo album from him. The other one that's really close behind is All the Best Cowboys Have Chinese Eyes. The only thing about that one, there's a couple of weaker tracks on here, where this one is, I think, is a lot more consistent. Twisted Sister, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll. That was my favorite for them. This one's their best one by a mile, I think. Ace Frehley, I ranked his solo album, starting with the 78 solo album from Kiss, and that's definitely still his best one, with Trouble Walking probably a close second. And last but not least, Cheap Trick. My favorite one is Heaven Tonight, and I also think it's their best. So there you have it. Leave your comments as far as what you thought my picks were for these bands. And like I said, like and subscribe if you like these videos. Thank you.